The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
I'm Ryan Risky.
All right, we're going to preview the second half here, even though game-wise we're over the halfway mark, but the All-Star break mark, and we will preview the second half.
You really like the schedule that's the rest of this month.
Yes.
I mean, you really think that if they don't, it's like a failure if they don't, aren't over 500.
This month is a lot easier than June, let me tell you.
And they went around 500 in June, which is pretty good.
Yep. The Cubs currently sit at the second wild card. They're 47-40, 7 games above 500. Very good. This has got to be the best that they've been since at least 2009 at this point.
I don't think they were that good at 2009 because remember they had
maybe they had a late surge in 2009. I don't know.
It was like April and May. They were not when Aramis separated his shoulder. Aramis Ramirez separated his shoulder. Then they were going on streaks of scoring 1 or no runs every game.
I remember in late July on that, I went to a game against the Reds where they swept the Reds, and they were in first place then. So the Cubs were in first place at some point in late July, early August, but obviously they didn't go to the playoffs that year.
No.
So the Cubs 47-40, second wild card. The first wild card is the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they're and they have about a 5-game lead on the Cubs right now, so it's going to be tough. The Mets and Giants are right on the Cubs' tail. The Mets are only 1 game back, San Francisco 2 games back, Arizona 5 games back, and Atlanta 6 games back. That's pretty much about it. I don't think San Diego really has a good chance. They've been kind of a disappointment.
Which is good for the Cubs because the Cubs might be targeting one of their pitchers and Justin Upton.
Right.
Which I'm going to say it right now. My bold prediction for the second half of this season is going to be the Pirates win the Central Division, and it'll be the Cubs and Cardinals in the wild card game.
I could certainly see that.
That's the scenario I don't want happening, though, because I don't see the Cubs winning the wild card game at St. Louis.
Yeah, it'll be hard. That's for sure. Plus last year the Giants went into PNC Park and beat up on the Pirates.
That was
to overtake them
domination.
too. 7-0 victory.
Yeah, I mean, really, it all depends what your schedule looks like at the end of the year. Like if you have the second wild card game locked up and you can save your ace for the wild card game, or if you if the Cubs can save Arrieta for that game, or they need him pitching that Sunday to get them to
which is possible.
That's
actually probably more probable just because I have a feeling that something like that would happen. We'll take a look at the Cubs schedule in a second.
This is why they want to acquire another pretty good pitcher so that if that scenario happens,
right.
Well, that's trading for that is also to avoid that snenario. Except if it ends up happening, then you have a couple of other guys that should be able to pitch in that.
I feel pretty comfortable having if they get somebody like Kazmir or something.
Yeah, if they Kazmir,
you feel comfortable with that. But otherwise, I feel comfortable with Lester, Arrieta, or Hamill all pitching in those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really would, and ideally the Cubs would probably want Lester just because of the postseason experience.
Right. I'm sure they try to line it up so that happens. Real quick in the American League.
That'd actually help a lot because you'd want Arrieta the final day and have Lester be able to pitch in that wild card game.
Right. Minnesota and Houston are the wild card leaders. Tampa Bay is 3 games back of a wild card spot. So right now Minnesota and Houston have some leeway between Tampa Bay and Baltimore.
Would the Cubs be in the first wild card spot in the American League?
Let me take a look. Cubs are 47-40. No, they would actually be out of a wild card. Minnesota and Houston both have 49 wins, 2 more wins than the Cubs do right now.
Wow.
So the Cubs would be the first team. After that, the Cubs would be ahead of Tampa Bay and Baltimore and Detroit and Toronto, but they would not. They would not be in the wild card race right now. They'd be 2 games back. So that's just a look at that. I will take a look at the Cubs schedule, but before we do that, there is some news today as Kyle Schwarber is going to be called up. He will be possibly in the outfield, possibly catching. He could do a little bit of both. So it'll be exciting to see what happens with him. Hopefully he can continue doing that in a non-DH role, like when he came up 3 weeks ago and did pretty good.
Right. It'd also be interesting to see, if he's just the guy that's starting at catcher, or if it's going to be kind of like he'll split it 50-50 with Ross.
I'm sure he'd split it 50-50 with Ross, but I don't know. I feel like that's a little much to ask for him to, be the primary starting catcher after being, called up right away. So I could definitely see it be switched, especially if you're going from a night game to a day game in consecutive days. Obviously, there's going to be a change there in catcher because Ross needs his rest, obviously.
Right.
Because
the only guarantee is that Schwarber will not be catching Lester.
Yes, I'm sure of that. Now this gives Lester an excuse to keep his guy David Ross. Well, because he did have Montero.
Lester pitched really good with Montero.
Yeah,
so,
I mean it's not like it was a bad start by any means.
So
really.
I mean, I hope that shows that if it comes down to the wild card game, Lester's pitching, they can keep Montero's bat in the lineup.
Right. All right, taking a look at the Cubs schedule here. Yes, as Ryan Risky said, it is a fairly easy schedule. The hardest team is the team up next, the Atlanta Braves. 3-game series at Atlanta, and then you have a 4-game series with a doubleheader next Wednesday, and that will be at Cincinnati. So that could be tough, too. I mean, it's always tough to play Cincinnati. Cincinnati usually plays pretty well against the Cubs. Then you're home against the Phillies and Rockies. That should be... you really need to win that homestand with only losing maybe 1 or 2 games in that whole thing. And then you're at Milwaukee for the end of July, beginning of August. So it's a pretty easy schedule, and then looking into August, then it gets a lot more tough. Pirates, Giants, Tigers, Braves, Dodgers, Indians. That's a tough month in August. But for July, I mean, you really should only lose a few games here and there for the rest of this month. Mm-hmm. Which I'm hoping that'll be the case. And maybe now with Kyle Schwarber here, he can give that offensive boost to the team, which we really do desperately need because, I mean...
Yeah, the offense is supposed to be one of the strengths of this team.
Right, because we need another bat, and we really need another, not necessarily another reliever, but another starting pitcher. So I think that, having an extra bat, now maybe we can, not worry about our pitching so much because our bullpen likes to give up runs here and there, which is not good. For the most part, they've done a nice job.
Yeah, I remember back in April and May, everyone wanted bullpen help at the trade dedeadline.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the main concern. Right
now, they don't have room for a bullpen guy to trade for a bullpen.
And I think we're getting Zach Ross cut back shortly. So that'll
Rafael
be...
Rafael Soriano's pitching in the minors right now.
Rafael Soriano should be up soon. I know he had an issue where he he couldn't leave his home country or something.
Yeah, he's been pitching for the Smokies the past week or so.
So that's exciting. He definitely... I think he would be extremely reliable. I would not have an issue at all with him being the setup man or closer. He'll probably be the closer eventually, especially if he does well in that because he was really good with Washington and stuff. So he could definitely be a good asset for the team. And then, of course, the extra bat with Kyle Schwarber, although that will take some playing time away from, well, I guess Coghlan and Denorfia, not that matters. And then, he'll be technically replacing Montero in the lineup when he's catching. So, I think it's very good. And Montero was doing pretty good. He got a lot of clutch hits, that's for sure.
Yeah, he did have a lot of big hits.
None bigger than that than that 3-run. I think it was a double against the Cardinals
in the heartbreaking loss.
Yeah. Oh, that made me not want Pedro Strop to close anymore. I think they should maybe have Hector Rondon do that now instead of Strop, and then when Soriano comes up, have him.
I think Mott's been the closer, and he had pitched the 2 previous.
That's right.
days.
I forgot that Mott was closing recently.
Mott needed the day off.
Sure, yeah, and it's just it was so sad because you're down to your last strike and that happens. But that's the Cardinals for you.
I mean, really, the Cardinals are what the Blackhawks are.
Yeah,
I mean they're never out of it. They're always going to come back. If you think that you've won a series against them, you've lost it the moment you think that.
Although it was very exciting to see them lose that heartbreaking loss. I mean, they had a heartbreaking loss of their own against the Pirates on Sunday Night Baseball.
They got swept by the Pirates, I think.
They did. They got swept by the Pirates. McCutchen hit a walk-off home run on that Saturday game in like the 14th inning or something. The bomb to center field, and then they came back. I think I don't know if the Cardinals were up by 1 run or 2. I think they were only up by 1. Or maybe it was 2, and the Pirates came all the way back, and they had like 5 hits in a row off of Trevor Rosenthal. Which was very exciting to see. See that he is vulnerable and he isn't, and that he is human because he's been really good, Trevor Rosenthal. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the only guy this year that hit Trevor Rosenthal at all this year has been Addison Russell. He has a home run and a double against him.
That's right. Other than that, I can't think of anyone else on the Cubs who probably even got a hit off of him. Maybe Rizzo got hit by him. I don't know, but because Anthony Rizzo gets hit by everybody. But yeah, you have at the Braves 6:35 tomorrow night, and then another night game Saturday night, and then a Sunday afternoon game, a 3:00 game. So that'll be an exciting couple. I mean, it should be an exciting few weeks. With, as I said, Braves, Reds, Phillies, Rockies, which is pretty easy. So hopefully that'll happen. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we have Hawks news, as we always do. Since we were gone for the last few weeks, there's been a lot that's gone down. We're going to talk about the new-look Blackhawks, as there is no more Sod, there is no more Sharp, there is no more Oduya. So you may wonder, how will they ever win the Cup again? But, they always find a way.
Guys.
Yeah, insert new guys, they always do well. It is sort of like the Cardinals, actually. That was a good example that you pulled. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back. We'll talk about the Blackhawks' off-season moves. You're listening to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.